I want to discuss the driver with you, and so that you understand what I meant here, okay? You will have to write two classes, use the player class from PP1 and write another class that is meaningful to you. So if your class is not correct, your player, I said, if in my grading, I said it's not correctly done, you need to correct that. In the driver, you will create objects of these classes and manipulate them using two stacks with one for each class. You have to make sure you test all methods in the stack class meaningfully. Okay, you also have to make sure you test all methods in the two classes you have written. And in the driver, you must test all methods in a self-documentary way. When the output is displayed, it should be self-explanatory. The reader should not have to look at your code to understand the output. So I will just explain it this once, and for all your other projects, it should be like this. So I will explain it in this project, but not the next one, okay? But you should follow this all the time. So here is my driver. It might not be completely, I'm not testing all the methods because the string method has so many, but I will just tell you what I meant, okay? So I'm creating 3 of them, and I ask you to create 2 stacks, right? With 2 different classes. And for me, I'm lazy, I'm just using string. I'm not a student. For you, one is player, the other one is a class you write on your own, a new class, but not the ones we have used. You have to create your own class, okay? And this one is integer, and this one is rectangle. I'm using the simplest class here. But this is how you declare and test it and create this stack, okay? I'm using stack interface. Can you use array stack? Yes, but using the interface is more professional. It's much better. Okay, so using stack interface, and remember your stack interface requires a type, right? That requires a type. So that's what you are doing. You give it the type of, in this case, string, that's the name. A new array stack string, that's the actual type. And when you implement array stack, remember you said it's a generic type, a placeholder. And here I'm replacing it with string. The same is true for these 2. Okay, that's the syntax. That's how you do this. And here I'm giving it the parameter. Obviously I'm using, which one? I'm using this one, right? I'm using this constructor. Okay. Okay, so now I'm pushing, okay? I pushed 4 strings. And when I print out, okay, here I'm testing. So this is what I meant. Your driver should be in a self-documentary way. So you should tell me you are testing the toString method, and then you print out the string, everything on the stack. So that's calling the toString method. And we discussed this already. You don't have to say string stack.toString, because you are concatenating that object with string. So the toString method is automatically called. We already discussed this many, many times. Okay. So that should print out this with class stopped first and then resumed and then end and then begins. So I'm going to, let me see, Control C. I'm going to comment them out, and let's run. Okay, so testing toString, stopped, resumed, ends, begins, and that is correct, right? If I do it again, okay, it should do the same thing. Remember I told you your toString should work when you call it again. If you call it again, it doesn't work, that means something is wrong. So you look at it, it works, right? That means this is good. So you test it this way. And then you test the it's empty method and the size method, okay? And so I'm saying testing the size method, there are and get the size, call that method of the string stack, okay? And testing the it's empty method, the stack is empty. See, it will say true or false. Do not give me an only true or false. You have to tell me you are testing it and you are asking that question and the answer is true or false, okay? So testing the size method, there are 4 elements on the stack. Remember, this comes from the calling, the invocation of the size method, right? And this comes from the it's empty method, okay? That's that. And then I'm testing these methods. Let's look at this. Okay, so here I'm popping the top element, and I'm calling the method of that class. In this case, it's a string, right? The elements. This is a string stack, a string stack. So I'm calling the method of the top element. And if you look at the look at this, I have said you also have to make sure you test all methods in the 2 classes you have written while manipulating the objects using the stack data structure meaningfully. So you must use the stack data structure. You cannot simply do this, okay? You cannot do, we will do that with the rectangle. You will see that, okay? So basically what I'm saying, let me give you this example. String s is equal to, for example, okay, class stopped, and here you put s there. Okay, you cannot do this. You say, I'm testing the method of the string class, or you're testing the method of player class, for example. You cannot simply do here, system.out.println s.substring to 6. You cannot do that because here you are not using this s as a stack element. You are using it as an individual element. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So here you're using this string as an individual string object, not as part of the stack, while here I'm using it as part of the stack. That's what I meant when I say you must manipulate it as the stack data structure. Okay, so this I would take points off for this statement. Okay, that's what that means. So you pop that element. Remember, pop returns the element, and you call the toString on that returned element. This is superfluous. This call, it's redundant, but I'm just showing you this is how you call the method of the element on the stack, okay? Or you can say peek, right? You can do that. This gives you that idea. Peek at the top element, change to uppercase. And I'm saying peek at that element, and remember peek returns an element of that type, and then you use that returned element to call to uppercase, okay? And this one is you are calling the size, right? And you call the size again because you popped an element. So now the size should change, and you call it's empty again to see if it's empty. Let's see. Cancel, something is, oh, okay. Let me just, but I'm going to just comment it out. It's not useful. Oh, it is, right? It is because I'm popping it, I'm pushing it, okay. Okay, so popping the top element class stopped, peeking at the top element changed to uppercase. You see, class resumed, right? So that's the top element, it's popped, okay. And so that's the element that's popped. And then peek, it should be this one. That's the top element. And I peeked at it. When I peek, I change it to uppercase. Okay. And then testing the size element, now there are 3 and it's not empty. Okay. So that's that. Let's look at these. Remember the pop element, the pop method throws an exception. So when you pop, you should call it in the try-catch clause block. Because I'm calling the pop and peek, I'm putting them inside the catch, the try-catch block. Okay, so once again, I'm peeking and I'm peek that element that returns an element, and then I call substring on that element. Okay, I'm showing you how to call the methods of the class through the data structure stack. Okay, and then I pop, pop, pop. So there are 3 elements. I popped 3 times. Now it's empty, right? And so when I pop the 4th time, it should throw the exception. And so I'm documenting that here. Testing the stack exception being thrown and caught. And here it should throw an exception. But because I caught it, right? So it prints out that exception and it allows me to continue. Let's see. Okay, so element popped, that's the first element we pushed. So it's the last element to be popped, right? That's the last element to be popped. And now I'm testing the stack exception and it throws that exception indeed. And it says stack is empty, which is this here, stack is empty. That's what it's talking about, right? That's your own message, okay, of that a stack exception class. And that's that, you understand that. Now let's look at this. Oh, I'm doing this just so that we test this, it's empty. Now it should be empty. I'm stating it should be empty, right? So let's see. So testing the it's empty method, the stack is empty, true, it is empty, okay. And this is just, I'm doing this, this is the integer method, the integer stack, I just put an element there and popped, I didn't do anything. And now let's look at this rectangle. Okay, oops. I think I should do this only. Did I? Okay. So here, okay, good. So I'm creating a new rectangle class, and here is my rectangle class. I have rectangle, length and width. Those are the 2 instance variables. Okay, accessors, mutators, and a specific area area method and toString. Okay, so those are the methods. So if I come here, I created a new rectangle, 4 and 5. I also simply pushed, I created a new rectangle here on the fly and pushed it onto the stack. So the argument for push is creating the new rectangle here. So that rectangle really doesn't exist outside the stack, right? But this one does, it's here. So when I do this, I'm pushing that R. I'm just showing you the 2 ways to create an object and push it onto the stack. Okay, those are the 2 ways. One is create the object by itself and push it. One is simply push it when you create, during the creating process, you push it. Okay, so that's that. And now you simply test it, right? Test the size. And so this is the size. This will give you the number. It should be 2 elements on the stack. And testing the toString method, that's the stack toString method, right? So let's see. And testing the, okay, that one is done. 2 elements on the stack, testing the toString. And toString, only the length and width and the length and width. Those are the two rectangles we have, right? And so we pushed 2 and 4 first, and then we pushed 4 and 5. And this is correct. The last one pushed is 4 and 5. That's the last one. And then this is the one that's pushed first. So that's all correct. And now this one, I'm just doing the testing, okay? Testing the peak pop methods and the methods in the rectangle class. So in the rectangle class, I did not do the set. I will do the set in a minute. Okay, I did this last night at 11 o'clock. I was going to make a video and it was too late. I couldn't stay awake. So top rectangles, did I misspell that? Top rectangles length, recstack.peak.getLength, right? And we discussed this already. This returns you the rectangle at the top, and then you use that object to get the length. And this is to get the width. And this is to get the area. And this time I'm popping it, take it off, and get the area. Okay. And this is, oops. I want to be perfect. I don't want to have this error here. Okay, so let's run. Okay, length is 4, width is 5. That's the first element. Length is 4, width is 5, and area is 20. So you're calling the methods, right? And I have how many methods? I have get, width, get, length, and area. So I need to test these two. So let's test those two. I will do what? This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to copy this. Okay. So testing, give it a new line character. Testing the mutators. Okay. And then I may not need to do this here, right? So what I do is stack dot, I can do peak at it, and then set width, set it to 340. And then I can do set. Oh, I need another, this one. Okay. And this is set length. 450. Okay. And then we will print it out, and just to make sure it's correct, right? So we come here and we say length and width are changed. After calling the setters. Okay. And you will add to it. So what do we add? We will add rec stack.peak. That gives you an element, right? That gives you an element, and you want to call the get length. Plus, let's just put them together. Give it a space and get width. I'm going to do that so that you can see the change, right? And get width. Okay, let's see. I have 2 here. Okay, let's run. Okay, so testing mutators, we test them, and length and width are changed after calling the setters 450 and 340. So that is correct. Okay, and that's, you are manipulating the element on the stack. You are not manipulating the individual element R. That's very important to understand. Okay, and then I'm pushing new ones on, and this, you will not see anything. But after you push new ones on, you want to test the toString method, right? So that you can see the new ones. And the new ones, and that's the last one. And then we push 2 more there. That shows you the toString method works and the stack works. Okay, that's how you test them. And that's it. Everybody, I'm done.